Good morning, everyone. This is Debbie Royce, Empire State Development's Corporate Secretary. I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's meeting. Before we formally begin, I would ask that everyone please mute your line unless you're speaking. As we have our directors joining this morning by video, we'll do a quick roll call before we get started. Kevin Eunice, Designee for Acting Commissioner of the Department of Economic Development, Hope Knight.
Present and accounted for.
Thank you. Howard Zemsky.
Present.
Eric Gertler.
Present.
Hilda Rosario Escher.
Present.
Michael Rosen.
Present.
And Benson Martin, Designee for Acting Superintendent of the Department of Financial Services, Adrian Harris.
Present.
Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. And Acting Chair Kevin Eunice, you can begin.
Good morning. Thanks, Debbie. Before I call the meeting to order, I would note for the record that I will serve as the acting chair for today's meeting before, hopefully, handing things over to Hope, who expects to join us a little late, as she's got another obligation. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, DBA Empire State Development, for Thursday, December 16th, 2021. I'd also like to ask everyone to please mute your audio until you're ready to speak. I'd also ask everyone to please state your name before you begin so that you can be identified by folks joining us via teleconference. I'd also like to note for the record that in accordance with recently passed legislation, this meeting will be conducted by video and teleconference. For the record, the public was given an opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by 4:30 yesterday afternoon. And I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda items. As always, the directors have received the written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time during the meeting. At this time, I would ask whether any of the directors has any potential conflicts of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. If so, we would ask you to please make the appropriate disclosure on the record at this time, and we'll remind you to recuse yourself from discussion or vote with regard to such item or items. All right, hearing none. Noted with the first item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes for November 18th, 2021. Remind everyone, please, to state your names before speaking, and if there are any comments, questions, additions, or deletions. If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. It's Howard. Second, Eric.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Ross Levi will now present an item relating to the Meet in New York grant program. Ross, when you're ready, please begin.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, directors. I'm Ross Levi. I'm the Executive Director of the New York State Division of Tourism. Today, we are requesting that the ESD Board authorize guidelines for the creation of a Meet in New York tourism grant program. As you are probably aware, last month, Governor Hochul announced a $450 million Bring Back Tourism, Bring Back Jobs state recovery package. And this $25 million Meet in New York program was one part of that announcement. The Meet in New York program is designed to incentivize the return of meetings and conferences, trade shows, and other similar events to New York State. These are a critical part of New York State's tourism economy, so we're excited to be able to offer this incentive. The program will provide grants to offset a portion of discounts on meeting spaces offered by convention centers and other event venues, and also on discounted rates for room blocks offered by hotels and other licensed lodging facilities in connection with a qualified event. To be eligible, these events will have to take place over at least 2 days. They will need to be new to New York State, meaning they haven't been held here in the last 4 years. They will need to attract participants from over 50 miles away, or at least have a portion of their participants staying in licensed overnight lodging facilities. The events will need to be contracted prior to December 31st, 2022, but can take place anytime up through December 31st, of 2024. The conference-based discounts will be reimbursed up to 75%, and the overnight room rate discounts up to 50%. Minimum awards will be set at $10,000 per event, and the maximum award will be up to $2 million per venue, which may include multiple events if they're held at the same venue. And the other eligibility requirements are outlined in the guidelines that you received already. Following an approval by the board today, our plan is to make an online application portal available early in 2022 so we can get applications moving as soon as possible. I'd be happy to take any questions that any of the directors may have.
All right. Thanks, Ross. Are there any questions or comments from the directors? All right. As noted earlier, there were no comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Benson.
Move, this is Hilda.
Second.
Howard.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Scott Lampkin will present the next item relating to the Tourism Return to Work Grant Program. Scott.
Thank you, Kevin, and good morning, directors. I'm Scott Lampkin, a senior project manager in loans and grants. The directors are being requested to authorize program guidelines, and in doing so, create the new Tourism Return to Work program. This $100 million program, as Ross mentioned, is being created as part of Governor Hochul's $450 million Bring Back Tourism, Bring Back Jobs state recovery package, and will incentivize employment growth and provide financial assistance to businesses in the tourism industry that suffered economic hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. To be eligible, businesses may be for-profit or nonprofit and must be operating in a tourism-related field, to which ESD has provided more detailed guidance for eligible industries in the guidelines. This program will provide grants for eligible businesses on a first-come, first-served basis that can demonstrate economic hardship from the pandemic, and for those businesses that can show increased employment between January 1st, 2022 and June 30th, 2022, which is a 6-month window to show job growth. So in total, the program will make available grants of $5,000 for each new full-time job added and $2,500 for each new part-time job added over the next 6 months. Grant awards will range from $10,000 per grantee, which represents a minimum of 2 new full-time jobs created, to the maximum grant of $200,000 per grantee, representing up to 40 new full-time jobs created. Following today's approval, ESD will initially implement a screening tool for businesses to determine eligibility in the program, which will then be followed by an application portal to document initial employment and verify eligibility. Eligible businesses will then submit employment documentation after June 2022, which is the conclusion of the 6-month job growth period, to demonstrate the number of new jobs that have been created. Award amounts will then be determined, followed by disbursement. Thank you, and I can take any questions that the directors may have.
Thank you, Scott. Are there any questions or comments from the directors? All right, as noted earlier, again, there were no comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would now entertain a motion for approval.
Motion, Zarek.
Second. Hilda.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. And now Scott Rasmussen will present an item related to the Federal Coronavirus Capital Project Fund. Scott.
Good morning, Director, and apologize in advance if I'm somewhat hard to hear. I am busily recovering from a cold. The Broadband Program Office has one item for consideration relating to the Federal Coronavirus Capital Projects Fund. This non-competitive grant program was established by the American Rescue Plan Act and is administered by the U.S. Department of Treasury. In September 2021, Treasury announced that New York State was eligible to receive up to $345 million $548,881 from the Coronavirus Capital Project Fund as a block grant for broadband infrastructure. Because of ESD's extensive track record and the effective and efficient administration of broadband infrastructure funds, ESD is best positioned to manage these funds on behalf of New York State. The program guidance stipulates that prior to the receipt of any funds, an authorized entity acting on behalf of New York State must enter into a grant agreement with the U.S. Treasury relating to roles and responsibilities, eligible uses of the funds, and compliance requirements, among other matters. After executing the grant agreement, ESD will be eligible to receive up to 5% of the state's allocation, or $17,277,444 for grant administration and planning through December 31st, 2026. Receipt of these administrative funds will enable ESD and the Broadband Program Office to take on staff and contractors to begin developing programs to effectively and efficiently invest coronavirus capital projects funds in New York. ESD will not receive any programmatic funding until it has submitted and received approval from Treasury for individual program plans that detail the intended use of those funds. The Broadband Program Office will seek board approval of any such program plans. In summary, the resolution submitted for consideration will authorize ESD to enter a grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Treasury and to receive funding for administrative and planning purposes. I'd be happy to answer any questions if any directors have them.
Hey, Scott, it's Eric. Just so I understand,
Sure.
ESD bids on 5%, gets 5%, but then what happens to the other 95%? Are those just individual applicants throughout the state that bid on that?
No, ESD will receive that funding, but the program is structured such that ESD can access administrative funds to begin planning. Then we'll have to submit specific program plans. And so we'll say, we want to invest in rural broadband with X amount of the dollars. We will submit to Treasury saying, outlining a plan for doing so, then receive funding for that specific planning for the amount that we intend to use for it.
Got it. So theoretically, New York State could end up with that full 300+ million. It's just, this is now to kick it off and have whatever administrative.
Precisely.
Okay, got it. Okay,
and we fully intend to pursue the full 345 million.
I have no doubt, Scott.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the directors? And again, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
Michael, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Any opposed? Beautiful. The motion carries. We'll hold off on the president's report until the end in hopes that Hope will join us and deliver that report. Until she is able to do so, I will now ask Ray Salabarios to join us with an update on the provide us with a status report on the COVID-19 pandemic small business recovery grant program. Ray.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Ray Salabarios. I'm currently acting as EVP for the Division of Small Business and Technology Development. To assist COVID-19 impacted small businesses, the $800 million COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program was created as part of the fiscal 2022 budget. The mission of the program is to support the small businesses that typically have had the least access to resources. The program encourages participation from micro businesses, socially and economically disadvantaged business owners, minority and/or women-owned businesses, and small businesses that did not receive adequate COVID-19 support. Program grants generally represent a significant portion of an awarded small business's operating expenses, and the investment has helped small businesses recover from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. Grant awards from the program are allowing small businesses across the state to cover costs such as payroll, rent or mortgage payments, personal protective equipment expenses, utility bills, and any costs associated with compliance with COVID-19 health and safety protocols. As of December 14th, ESD has awarded $390 million in grants to 23,124 small businesses. The program provides flexible grants of $5,000 and $50,000, with the average award being $16,889. As per the program's mission, 99% of the awards have gone to micro businesses. 49% of the awards have gone to socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses, and 89% of the awards have gone to minority and/or women-owned small businesses. Thank you, and I will answer any questions that the directors may have.
All right,
Rafael,
thank you.
this is Hilda. I have a question. As there are a lot of businesses in distressed neighborhoods in Rochester that have taken advantage of that grant.
Yes, actually, Rochester has received the fourth largest amounts of grants throughout the program. I can't tell you specifically now whether they're all in distressed communities, but Rochester has taken advantage of the grant program.
Okay. Thank you.
Hilda, we'll report back to you with that if we have that detail. We'll get it to you. Any other questions, comments from the directors? All right, thank you, Ray. Regional directors and program staff are on the line with us today to present during the project section of today's agenda, and they will answer any related questions. Vinny Esposito from the Finger Lakes will start things off with 2 items. Once Vinny provides presentations on both items, we'll take a vote separately for each item. Vinny, please start things off with Intergrow Holdings Capital. Thank you.
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, directors. Thank you. Yes, the first one, directors are being asked to approve a $1.5 million capital grant to Intergrow Holdings. This is from the Upstate Revitalization Initiative to support the construction of 35 acres of greenhouses at a cost of $54.3 million for the total project. This project also received a $1 million Excelsior tax credit incentive for job creation. During the project, the company was expected to retain 150 existing jobs and create 100. They've already created 70 of those 100 jobs, now have 220 total employees, have completed the first 2 phases of a 3-phase project, and therefore have achieved milestones for first disbursement. The second project, directors are being asked to approve a $1.25 million capital grant for Midtown Parcel 2 LLC from the Regional Council Capital Fund Round 8. This grant supports costs for the construction, a portion of costs for the construction and renovation of a new 6-story, 110,000 square foot mixed-use building in downtown Rochester at the site of the old Midtown Mall on Parcel 2, which is why the LLC is named that way. There's $75,000 of commercial space, which is the main reason the Regional Council supported this project, which is primarily going to be occupied by Butler Till Media Services, which will take 145 employees, move them from the suburbs of Rochester into downtown, and also create 78 new jobs over the next several years. Total project cost was $17 million, a little bit more, $17,070,000. The project was completed this past October. Be happy to take any questions.
All right, Benny, thanks a lot. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to Intergrow Holdings Capital? As noted, we do not have any public comments with regard to this item. If none, I would entertain a motion for approval on the Intergrow Holdings item.
I move the motion, Hilda.
Second, Benson.
All right, thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. The motion carries. Questions or comments with regard to the second item, the Butler Till Midtown Expansion Project? Again, no comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Move, Hilda.
Michael, second.
Excellent, thank you. The motion, oh, sorry. I skipped that part. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. The motion carries. Steve Hunt will now present an item from the North Country region. Steve.
Good morning, Kevin and board members. I will be presenting one project from the North Country, awarded a Round 3 Downtown Revitalization Initiative grant. We're seeking board authorization of a $381,500 grant to Prop and Rudder LLC, doing business as Bitters and Bones, for a portion of a $740,000 project to expand their craft brewery facility in Saranac Lake. The project includes a new 7-barrel brewing system, rooftop deck, facade improvements, and renovation of 2 upper floor apartments at 65 Broadway in downtown. The project will capitalize on the booming craft beer industry and create a first-class tourist destination for beer, food, and entertainment enthusiasts, and establish Saranac Lake's first hometown brewery. The project is significantly underway, with anticipated completion by the end of December 2022. The project is consistent with the North Country RDC's placemaking strategy, as well as the Saranac Lake Downtown Revitalization Initiative strategic plan. And because the company has satisfied its obligations for disbursement of grant funds, ESD is now seeking that the board authorize the release of funds for this project, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Please remind everyone to please state your names before speaking. And are there any questions or comments with regard to this item for Steve? All right, as noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Moved, Michael.
Second.
Benson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Thanks, Steve. Mike Reese will now present 3 items from the Mohawk Valley region. Once Mike presents all 3 items, we'll separately take votes for each item. Mike, please start things off with the City of Rome Liberty George Garage project.
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Board of Directors members. This is Mike Reese, Regional Director, Mohawk Valley Regional Office for ESD. Directors are being asked to approve a grant of up to $1.5 million from the Downtown Revitalization Initiative Fund to the City of Rome to be used for a portion of the cost to demolish the Liberty George parking garage and construct an interim street-level parking area. Structural analysis found the Liberty George parking garage was no longer safe for use, forcing the city to demolish the structure. Once the parking garage was taken down, new site improvements were installed, including new curbs, concrete, paver walkways, masonry seat walls, and landscaping. The site is currently being used as an open parking lot. The long-term strategy is to identify a development company to create a high-density, sustainable residential and commercial center as called for in the city's comprehensive plan. Total budget for the project is $2,362,000, and it was completed in August of 2021. Project is consistent with the Mohawk Valley REDC strategy to redevelop and revitalize region's downtowns. My second project, I'll be asking the directors to approve a grant of up to $500,000 from the Regional Council Capital Fund to Bowers Development LLC to be used for a portion of the cost to renovate the 5-story historic security building in downtown Utica into commercial office space. Bowers Development has a successful track record redeveloping environmentally challenged properties and bringing them back to a marketable state. The City of Utica had planned to demolish the security building located at 120 through 126 Bleecker Street in downtown Utica due to the amount of hazardous material abatement and restoration work that would be required to bring the building back to life. Bauer Development acquired the building from the City of Utica, applied for funding during round 6 of the consolidated funding application. The incentive proposal was signed in September 2017. Project was completed in May 2021 and is now home to the Legal Aid Society, providing civil legal aid to residents of the City of Utica. Total budget for the project is $2,354,000 for construction and renovation, with ESD participation of $500,000. The project is consistent with the Mohawk Valley RDC strategy to redevelop and revitalize the region's downtowns. The building is located within the Utica's DRI catchment area. My last project, the directors are being asked to approve a grant of up to $2,860,000 from the Regional Council Capital Fund to the County of Oneida to be used for a portion of the cost of machinery, equipment, construction, and renovation of the Unmanned Autonomous Systems Operations Maintenance and Incubator Center. This project strengthens key defense assets in the Mohawk Valley region, including assistance to Fort Drum, Hancock International Airport, and Griffith International Airport, and hopes to attract companies involved in the UAS industry. The county installed Saab Census Corporation wide area multilateration surveillance, airport surface radar, and air surveillance radar at the FAA designated Griffith International Airport test range. Deliverables include collection of high-accuracy data and advanced testing capability at the Griffith Test Range. The project will supply aircraft tracking data for safety and awareness for UAS operations with a future opportunity to support the MQ-9 Reaper mission of the 174th Air National Guard, the 10th Mountain Division's Gray Eagle operations, the Air Force Research Laboratory located at Griffith Business and Technology Park, and the Governor's Civil Support. The project will give the FAA New York UAS test site the potential to lead development of a detect and avoid system for safe UAS operations in national airspace. Total budget for the project is $13,970,000, and it was completed in August of 2017. The project is consistent with the Mohawk Valley's REDC strategy to develop the UAS industry. And I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Let's first off, I would just offer a challenge. If anybody can work in wide lateration radar to your conversation today, I'll give you $5. I'd also remind anyone to please state your name before speaking. Are there questions or comments from the directors with regard to the City of Rome Liberty George Garage project? All right, as noted earlier, we do not have any comments with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second, Benson.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Are there questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 2E, the Bowers Development Capital Project? All right. Again, no comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
So move, Hilda.
Second, Benson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Comments or questions from the directors with regard to item 2F, the Oneida County Griffiths Airport UAS Research Capital Project, also presented by Mike. All right. Again, no comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion, Eric.
Second, Michael.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Mike Evely will now present an item.
Can I just ask Mike Reese one question before he gets off the line? Mike, it's Eric. Just high level, and we can go offline. What's the status with the Cree facility? When's that coming online, or is that online?
Wolfspeed is on track for ribbon cutting. Hopefully, they were saying summer 2022. Now they're saying maybe closer to spring 2022. So we're shooting for about June. But from what I understand from our SBD team is that everything is on track for completion this coming spring/summer 2022.
That's exciting. Thank you. Great work.
Eric, I was there a couple of weeks ago, and as Mike noted, they changed their name to Wolfspeed.
Yeah, Wolfspeed. Yeah.
But I did a tour of the facility. They're ahead of schedule. They are really thrilled to be in the community, and they're thrilled with the support and success they've had so far. So really positive feedback from them.
Well, that's great. That's just a great project. That is, total teamwork from Howard Zemsky through the entire ESD agency. So great work.
All right, Mike Evely will present an item for the Capital Region. Mike.
Good morning. Today I'm requesting the directors approve a $300,000 capital grant to 444 River Street Lofts LLC for a portion of the cost associated with the redevelopment of a historic and vacant manufacturing building into a mixed-use building with 74 residential units and 8,000 square feet of commercial space in downtown Troy, Rensselaer County. The project was a CREDC Round 5 priority project. The total project cost for the commercial portion that is supported by ESD funding is just over $1,815,000. The construction cost for the entire building project is $21,600,000. 444 River Street Loft was formed in December 2012 with the sole purpose of purchasing and renovating the building at 444 River Street. The company has worked with the City of Troy and community to develop this project to meet local needs. Downtown Troy has been rapidly developing, thus creating an expanding need for centrally located commercial and residential space. Part of that need is for unique commercial space. This is consistent with the CREDC's core strategy, which is strengthening communities at their core and making them more attractive to private investment. Again, the building was partially collapsing at the time the project started. Was completed in December 2020, and is also located in the recently announced Troy Downtown Revitalization Zone. Questions?
All right. Thank you. Questions or comments from the directors? All right. No comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion, Hilda.
Second, Benson.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. The motion carries. Bud Sweet will now present two items from the Southern Tier region. Bud, when you're ready.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, directors. We have two items for your review and consideration. The first is from Steuben County. It is part of our continuing investment in the institutional infrastructure of the Southern Tier. This is a $1 million Round 8 capital grant to Corning Community College as part of a $5,175,000 total project cost. The project, the funds, the $1 million was approved in Round 8 by the Regional Council. It's part and parcel with the strategic plan of the Southern Tier to support workforce development and support advanced manufacturing. Like many community colleges, Corning Community College has very pragmatic curriculum, and our funds would be used to cover a portion of the cost of construction, machinery, equipment to upgrade facilities, modernize facilities. The project has advanced far enough that we can make application for the first drawdown. So we felt it was time for the Board of Directors to review and ask for approval.
All right. You present the next item.
Next item is not manufacturing, not education, is actually agricultural. This is a $550,000 grant award, also approved in Round 8 by the REDC to Damiani. Damiani Wine Cellars has been in business since 2004. They produce grapes. They use only New York State grapes that they grow on their property to produce wine. We're part of a $2,792,000 project, of which we have $550,000. Our funds will be used to cover the costs of construction and machinery and equipment. This project is also far enough advanced that we can begin a drawdown process for the first drawdown. Project is moving forward, is on schedule, and we expect it to be completed within the time frame as outlined in the materials in the original IP.
All right. Thanks, Bud. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to the STEAM Innovation Capital Center project as presented by Bud? Again, no comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion, it's Eric.
Second, Michael.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Any questions or comments from the we have to do the next one, but are there questions or comments from the directors with regard to 3I, the Damiani Wine Cellars share wine facility? All right, and again, no comments from the public, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Moved, Michael.
Second, Benson.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. The
Double
next item
thank
will
you.
be present. All right. Thanks, Bud. Next item will be, two items will be presented by Victoria. Victoria, I'm going to brutalize your last name, Majerzak.
Good job.
Will now present. All right, sorry. Present two items for our New York City region. Victoria, when you're ready, please start.
Good morning. This is Victoria Myshak. Today we have for your consideration two items. The first request is for approval of a $1.5 million grant for WHBI LLC, doing business as Harlem Biospace, in connection with the renovation and equipping of 21,250 square feet of office and wet lab space. The facility is located at the Mink Building at 1361 Amsterdam Avenue in West Harlem's Manhattanville Factory District, a cluster of 4 buildings totaling 1.3 million square feet that is owned by Janus Property Company. This facility will be used as step-out space for expanding early-stage, small and mid-sized life sciences companies, as well as space for a life sciences anchor, Volastra Therapeutics, a biotechnology company developing novel therapies for the treatment of cancer. The $9 million project was designated as a priority project by the New York City Regional Council in REDC Round 5, as it is in alignment with state and regional strategies for the life sciences cluster. Harlem Biospace, a biotech incubator, was founded in 2013 with financial support from the New York City Economic Development Corporation. It currently operates a shared space incubator in 2,300 square feet in the Suites Building, located in Janus Property Company's Manhattanville Factory District, at the heart of 3 academic campuses: Columbia University's Morningside Heights and Manhattanville campuses, and the City College of New York. Since its founding, Harlem Biospace has hosted over 60 companies in this facility and helped develop an emerging life sciences ecosystem in the area. The new facility will fulfill the growing demand for wet lab space for biotech companies needing additional space and for those graduating from shared facilities. The site will also serve as a gathering point to foster connections among entrepreneurs, investors, university personnel, and industry partners from across the state. The incubator space will have capacity for 12 to 15 companies, and combined with the anchor tenant space, will have total capacity for up to 210 researchers. It should be noted that private investors poured a record $2.3 billion into New York State life sciences companies in 2020, nearly triple the amount invested the previous year. However, this level of investment will only continue if life sciences companies have a place to grow. Construction on the project is expected to be completed by June 2022. The second item for your consideration today is a request for approval of a $728,000 grant for Evergreen Inc., your North Brooklyn Business Exchange, in connection with the construction and renovation of a 10,000 square foot building located at 500 Stagg Street in East Williamsburg, Brooklyn. This facility will be used by local industrial businesses and manufacturers. The project was designated as a priority project by the New York City Regional Council in REDC Round 6, as it is in alignment with state and regional strategies for downtown revitalization, placemaking, and workforce development. Founded in 1982, Evergreen is a nonprofit local development corporation supported by a membership of businesses that champions manufacturing, creative production, and industrial service businesses in North Brooklyn and beyond. Evergreen connects businesses with direct technical assistance, workforce development, government procurement opportunities, and advocacy to help create and maintain high-quality jobs at all skill levels. For example, earlier this year, Evergreen was approved for a $100,000 grant from ESG to provide hands-on guidance to small businesses seeking to apply to the COVID-19 pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program. Evergreen will use the ESG grant in connection with the development of a $7.3 million multi-tenant industrial space, which is expected to lease at approximately 20% below market. The building will be divided into 3 custom-designed industrial units ranging from 2,000 to 3,000 square feet and will have a shared loading dock. 8 companies are currently being considered by Evergreen as possible tenants from an original pool of 20 candidates. and these companies fall within the following industry sectors: specialty construction trade contractors, food manufacturing, wood product manufacturing, fabricated metal product manufacturing, and furniture product manufacturing. The 3 companies selected are expected to create up to 40 jobs with salaries ranging from $54,000 to $71,000 per year, and the building's excess revenue will be reinvested in Evergreen's programming. The project is expected to be completed by the end of this month, and happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you, Victoria. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to the item 2J, the Harlem Biospace Project?
Victoria, it's Eric. Is SAMCA still running the incubator and or now the step out space?
Yes, both.
Both, okay.
All right, any other questions or comments from the directors? All right, again, no comments from the public with regard to this item, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion. Sorry.
Second, Hilda.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. I'm sorry, any opposed? Motion carries. Any questions or comments from the directors with regard to the second item, to 2K, the Evergreen Inc., your North Brooklyn Business Exchange Capital Project? All right, as noted again, no comments from the public, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved, Howard. Second, Benson.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Elizabeth Muehlman will now present an item from our Long Island region. Elizabeth, please begin when you're ready.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. Today I'm presenting one project, GSE Dynamics, for the director's consideration. This is a Round 9 Regional Economic Development Council project that included building improvements and equipment purchases. It's fully completed, and we're asking for the disbursement of $300,000 from the Regional Council Capital Fund. GSE Dynamics was founded in 1971 and is a second-generation woman-owned defense contractor that occupies 2 buildings in Hauppauge on Long Island that total about 87,000 square feet. They're one of Long Island's only true composite manufacturers, and they're a major supplier for Northrop Grumman, in addition to having contracts with the U.S. Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. GSE's products include metal and composite assemblies that are used on aircrafts and submarines. For their Round 9 project, GSE invested $1,766,319 in facility renovations and new machinery and equipment that included a new autoclave system, a CNC router, a robotic seam welder, and a composite scanning machine. This investment in the facility and their new equipment was needed for GSE to remain competitive and to be successful in future aerospace bids. It allowed them to improve their efficiency, expand into new product lines, and it facilitated the addition of 5 new employees to their existing workforce of 68. So they have 73 employees at the moment. Their constant investments in competitiveness have allowed them to thrive regionally. ESD has helped them in the past, and they've had 2 prior grants, both of which they met all of their job and investment goals on. This project is consistent with the Regional Council goals of supporting advanced manufacturing, and in particular, Long Island's legacy aerospace industry. It's a fully completed project, and I was actually able to go tour GSE a couple of months ago and see some of the investments that they made and the equipment that they purchased with this grant. I'd also like to mention that Ansha Bunkle-Moore is a Regional Council member, and she recused herself from all the discussions and scoring related to this project.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Please remind everybody to please state your names before speaking. And are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item? All right, again, no comments from the public, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved, Howard. Michael, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. We now have Doug Carr and Steve Golick who will present 2 items related to the Highline Moynihan Connector project. We'll take a vote after each item is presented. Doug, if you'll please start with the modified general project plan.
Hello, good morning, Kevin, and good morning, directors. My name is Douglas Carr, and I'm here to present an updated item related to the Highline Moynihan Connector Civic Project. Specifically today, we are requesting the director's authorization to affirm the modified general project plan and authorization to take all related actions. This is an update to a previous board presentation provided in September, proposing the adoption of the general project plan for this project. In early 2021, New York State announced the Highline Moynihan Connector Project, a proposal to connect the High Line to the privately owned public space at Manhattan West and further east to Moynihan and Penn Station. The purpose of the proposed project is to provide a new public amenity to improve public access, connectivity, and pedestrian safety on the Manhattan's far west side. The project would be designed and built through a public-private partnership among ESD, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Friends of the High Line, and Brookfield Properties, and is expected to enable commuters and other pedestrians traveling from Penn Station and Moynihan Train Hall to connect seamlessly and safely to the High Line, Hudson Yards, the Javits Convention Center, and other points in Midtown West, without traveling through congested streets and sidewalks in the area. Since this item was last presented in September, ESD has continued ongoing coordination with several New York City agencies, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, our project partners, and in partnership with the Friends of the High Line, has met with local community stakeholders, including Community Board 4, local elected officials, the Manhattan Borough President, and other community groups. To date, ESD and FHL have participated in over 35 meetings with local community stakeholders. In October, ESD held a public hearing on this project, followed by a 30-day open comment period. ESD received 2 comments, including a letter of support from New York State Senators Brad Hoylman and Robert Jackson, as well as a letter from the City of New York, making minor revisions to the description of the project, which have been incorporated into the modified GPP, and requesting certain modifications to the override provisions of the GPP. ESD has reviewed these and considered the city's requested modifications to the zoning overrides and have incorporated these changes into the modified GPP. Coordination among several city agencies and interested parties will continue. With that, we are asking the Board of Directors to affirm the modified general project plan and authorization to take all related actions. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Let's start with questions or comments from the directors for Doug on this item. All right. Again, no comments from the public, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Hilda.
Second.
I think all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Steve Golick will present the next item related to the ownership of the Highline Connector project. Steve.
Thank you. In conjunction with Doug's presentation, we're asking the board for approval to take ownership of the Highline structure when construction is complete and to enter the necessary agreements to effectuate ownership. I would point out that this structure will not house any multi-letteration radar installation. So Kevin, you can pay me that $5 when I see you next. ESD has been leading the public-private partnership and is in constant talks with all the parties, Brookfield, Friends of the High Line, Port Authority, and the city. And by taking ownership, it'll allow the necessary agreements to be negotiated between the parties and allow construction to get started. We have not foreclosed on a scenario that another entity, including New York City, may ultimately own it. But in this point, in order to keep the project moving, we need to identify ESD as the owner and enter all necessary agreements. So if they have any questions, that'd be great.
Right. Any questions or comments from the directors?
Steve, it's Eric Gertler. Now that I know that there's no multi-lateration radar or whatever it was, for my $5 too, I will support this.
All right. Are there any questions, any other questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item? All right. No comments from the public, and I would entertain a motion.
Motion, Eric.
Second, Michael.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. The motion carries. Next, we have 3 New York Ventures investment items, which will be presented by Jennifer Teagan and Momo B. After all 3 are presented, we'll take a vote on each. Jennifer, if you would please begin with Neurogenesis.
Good morning, directors. This is Jennifer Teagan. I'm the managing director of the New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund. I'll be presenting the first 2 investments for approval, and Momo will present the third. New York Ventures is requesting an investment of up to $1 million into the $10 million Series A preferred financing round of Neurogenesis, Inc., which is an Israeli-founded startup that is relocating its headquarters to Rochester, New York. The round is being led by Excel Partners and Morgan Stanley. The proceeds of the financing will be used to establish its pilot manufacturing in Rochester and allow the company to complete its FDA Phase 2B drug trials. Neurogenesis is targeting the multi-billion-dollar unmet need for therapies that improve patient conditions and outcomes for progressive multiple sclerosis. There are currently estimated to be about 500,000 patients in the U.S. who have progressive MS. But currently there are only 2 approved drugs on the market, both of which only slightly delay the disease progression, but don't actually improve overall condition or outcomes for the patients. Neurogenesis works differently, and through its proprietary process, it actually isolates some of the bone marrow cells from a patient, and it has a biofactory that allows for remyelation of those cells. And to date, they've run this process on more than 140 patients in Israel, including some patients that got the, are US-based that got the treatment in Israel. MS causes a loss of myelin, and this treatment actually promotes the regeneration of the myelin and allows the patients to regain some of their lost functionality, including some that have seen life-altering and dramatic improvements in their condition, including gaining the ability to walk again. And although not all patients saw improvement, there were no complications recorded to date in the prior trials. The initial target market represents 500,000 patients in the U.S., but the therapy being developed can also be potentially applied to at least 2 other neurodegenerative diseases, including neuromyelitis optica and Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS. The company has an experienced team of business leaders and founders and is ready to establish its headquarters in Rochester, New York, with the closing of this financing round. As part of the due diligence process, New York Venture staff and an external investment committee evaluated the company's business plan and growth prospects, as well as the terms of the investment. And as a result of that analysis, New York Ventures and its investment committee both agree that the market opportunity and growth potential offered by Neurogenesis warrants an investment by the fund and recommend its approval. And I'd be happy to stop there and address any questions specific to that investment before I move to the next one.
Jennifer, it's Eric. Was there a compelling reason that they picked Rochester? Was there a partnership there or a connection to a university or anything?
Yeah, good question, Eric. Indeed, there is a neurology professor at the University of Rochester Medical Center, and they've already engaged with him to be part of the Phase 2B drug trials. They were also looking at Boston, where there is similarly located a faculty researcher that they're interested in working with, and that they will work with out of Brigham and Women's Hospital, but they chose Rochester as the primary location for a host of reasons, but
that's very
exciting for that region, I think. Yeah.
All right, Jennifer, why WYL?
Great. So New York Ventures is also requesting an investment of up to $500,000 in the SAFE financing round of up to $2 million in Buffalo, New York-based Who's Your Landlord, or WYL Inc., which is being led by a venture capital fund called Black Ops VC. Choose Your Landlord is a minority-founded software platform that helps renters and landlords make more informed decisions to increase the quality of experience and services in the multi-residential real estate market. WYL was in 2019 winner of the 43 North Business Plan competition, where it won $500,000 to advance and grow its business in Buffalo. The national average turnover rate for apartments is 50%, and the average apartment turnover cost homeowner or landlords $1,800 per unit per month and up to $5,000 per month in market rate in luxury buildings. The lack of transparency between the landowner or the property owners and the tenants creates real problems, including for renters, lack of ability to verify quality of the landlord and the property, and the lack of knowledge to protect themselves, while landlords have a hard time making the right investment decision to increase the quality of their services to the people who they're providing homes for. The platform that WYL has created empowers renters and landlords to share housing reviews, to get educated about rental resources, and provide data and predictive analytics as a service to building owners, operators, and lenders, and enables them to increase engagement with their tenants and improve their retention rates, and also as well as underwriting processes for the buildings. WYL is cultivating a marketplace of trust and transparency for home providers and renters, and integrates seamlessly with other software tools that building owners already use to manage their businesses. As part of its due diligence process, New York Venture staff and an external investment advisory committee evaluated the company's business plan and growth prospects, as well as the terms of this investment. And as a result of that analysis, New York Ventures and its investment committee both agree that the market opportunity and growth potential offered by WYL warrants an investment by the fund, and recommend its approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, Momo, let's go with your presentation, and then we'll come back to any questions on any of the items after that.
Okay. Good morning, directors. This is Momo V. The directors are being asked to approve up to $1 million investment into and up to $5 million seed financing into Uvo Health. Uvo is an existing portfolio company of New York Ventures. We invested $250,000 in Uvo pre-seed safe round during Q2 2021. Uvo Health provides software and software-enabled services to federally qualified health clinics to transition to value-based care. Uvo Health is a minority and women-led company based in New York City. FQHCs serve the most vulnerable populations in this country, including 1 in 6 Medicaid beneficiaries, 1 in 3 Americans living in poverty, and 1 in 5 people living in rural areas. Total service revenue across all FQHCs were $28.7 billion in 2019. Since there are still 4,000 medically underserved areas in this country that are in need of FQHCs for the 20 million people living in these areas, FQHCs are expected to grow to $72 billion by 2028. However, FQHCs are not equipped to fulfill these needs with an average net margin of negative 9% due to capacity utilization issues, leadership gaps, not being qualified for risk contracts with insurance companies, and the lack of negotiation leverage. To address the above issues, Uvo Health is building a tech platform and tech-enabled services to allow FQHCs to scale to transition into value-based care, negotiate preferred rates, repurpose admin space for clinical use to increase patient treatment, to participate in an accountable care organization to qualify for value-based care revenue, and to take advantage of the shared leadership from Uvo Health. In order to fund its activity over the next 12 to 18 months, Uvo Health is raising an up to $5 million seed financing. New York Ventures will invest up to $1 million into the investment round, with the balance being provided by private sector investors led by Alley Corp. As part of the due diligence process, New York Venture staff and an external investment advisory committee evaluated the company's business plan and growth prospects, as well as the terms of investment. As a result of that analysis, New York Ventures and the investment committee both agree that the market opportunity and the growth potential offered by Yubo Health warrants an investment by the fund and recommend its approval. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Momo. Any questions from the directors with regard to any of these three items? All right, again, no comments from the public with any of these items. And I would now entertain a motion for approval of item 4A, the investment in Neurogenesis, as presented by Jennifer.
Motion, it's Eric.
Second, Michael.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Entertain a motion for approval regarding item 4B, the investment in WYL, also presented by Jennifer Teagan.
So moved.
Motion, Hilda.
Right, second.
Second, it's Eric.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. And I would now entertain a motion for approval of item 4C, the investment in Yubo Health, as presented by Momo.
So moved, Howard. Second, Benson.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I'd now like to ask Goldie Wexel, who will provide a summary of the administrative actions on today's agenda, and then we would call for a single vote on those items. Goldie.
Sure. Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everybody. As a reminder, in order to help streamline our board meetings, we previously implemented an oral summary presentation process in connection with the administrative action section of our agenda. You receive a full set of written descriptive materials for each of these items in your board materials, as you have for this meeting. But rather than having individual presentations made on each, I will provide a brief summary of the items. At the conclusion of the summary, we will then entertain any comments or questions the directors may have. As noted earlier, we did not receive any comments from the public on any of these items. Following my presentation and any questions, the acting chair will then call for a motion to approve the entire slate of administrative actions, which include actions 5A through 5E. The administrative action items submitted for your consideration today and for which you have received written materials are summarized as follows. First, 5A, the ESD board is being asked to authorize the corporation to accept and administer state-appropriated funding on behalf of its subsidiary, the USA Niagara Development Corporation. The funds in the amount of $1.5 million are from the Buffalo Regional Innovation Cluster Fund and will be used by USA Niagara to fund a contract for management services for the USA Niagara-owned Niagara Falls Conference and Convention Facility and for services related to the maintenance and programming of the City of Niagara Falls-owned Old Falls Street. The next item relates to an extension of a contract for our phone system. In 2017, ESD entered into a contract with Insight Public Sector to replace its phone system with a voice-over internet protocol system using 8x8 incorporated products. The contract with Insight was approved for 3 years, ending in December 2020. As the contract end date approached, ESD worked to procure 8x8 services directly. However, as this new contract was being finalized, 8x8 informed ESD they would not be able to sign the ESD contract due to contractual obligations with Insight. ESD is now looking to initiate a new competitive bidding process for these services. The current procurement is underway, and we estimate that we will have a new contract or new selected contractor by February 2022. And so ESD, just for the interim few months, we are seeking to amend Insight's current contract to pay for services until the new contract has been executed. The total estimated costs incurred under this amendment are anticipated not to exceed $72,000, inclusive of a 20% contingency to be utilized upon written approval by ESD. The new total contract amount will not exceed $806,617.28. The funding source for this amendment will be ESD corporate funding. Items 5C and 5D relate to the Moynihan Station Civic and Land Use and Improvement Project. The first is an amendment to the contract with Skadden Arps, Slate, Meagher and Flom LLP for legal services. The proposed amount of the amendment is $250,000 with a time extension through the end of 2024. The firm's past services have been excellent, and through their experience with the project, Skadden has gained an institutional knowledge that cannot be replicated with another firm. Their expertise and advice will be essential in ongoing legal matters related to the project, as well as ESD's participation in the James A. Farley commercial condominium. The next item related to Moynihan is a request to amend the Ernst & Young contract in the amount of $300,000 with a time extension through December 2024. Ernst & Young provides strategic advice and financial advisory services pertaining to the project and has carried out its services with a high degree of professionalism and speed. Their ongoing services and assistance with optimizing and administering the project's long-term financing structure will draw on the knowledge gained over the course of the project, and it would be cost prohibitive to engage with another firm at this time. Last but not least, the board is being asked to approve a payment pursuant to the Electric Generation Facility Cessation Mitigation Program to the Barker Central School District in the amount of $2,491,498. The payment will offset a reduction in this year's revenue to the school district due to the closure of the Somerset Power Generating Facility in March 2020. Approval of this payment will bring total disbursements from the fund to approximately $41.2 million of the $140 million budgeted for the program. Thank you, and I will entertain any questions.
Thank you, Goldie. Questions or comments from the directors? All right, no comments from the public on any of these items. And I would entertain a motion for approval of items 5A through 5E as submitted in the written materials as provided to the directors.
So moved, Howard. Second, Benson.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Obviously, I'm not Hope Knight, and she hasn't been able to join us, so I'm going to, on her behalf, present the president's report. So if I occasionally refer to myself as Hope or otherwise, please forgive me. Last night, a bunch of us attended the 11th annual MWB Forum, which Governor Hochul announced that we exceeded our 30% goal for utilization of M's and W's. It's the highest goal and highest utilization number in the country. Clearly a testament to the hard work of our colleagues in the division, and really thanks to Jerome Duvall and his team for the work they've been engaged in, not only in certification, but also in doing last night's forum. So Jerome, thank you. In addition, Governor Hochul announced more than $81 million to support 97 priority projects across the state through the Regional Economic Development Council initiative. This year, ESD, with a combination of grants and Excelsior Jobs tax credits, are being offered on a rolling and continuous basis to shovel-ready projects that can stimulate economic growth. The governor also announced an additional $196 million from funding from other agencies and the Market New York program, which is also supported through ESD. Additionally, the governor's office and with our partners at Department of State, we've been announcing the winning communities for the 5th round of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. This round, the regional councils could nominate one $20 million awardee or two $10 million winners. Congratulations to Chinatown in the New York City region, Troy and Tannersville in the Capital Region, Oneida and Syracuse in Central New York, Rochester and Newark in the Finger Lakes, Haverstraw and Ossining in the Mid-Hudson, Gloversville and Little Falls in the Mohawk Valley, Messina and Tupper Lake in the North Country, Endicott and Norwich in the Southern Tier, and Buffalo and North Tonawanda in Western New York. Last month, the third round of the Grow New York Food Innovation and Agricultural Technology Business Competition was held in Syracuse. Congratulations to Everybody Eat, a company that makes markets and sells food free from the 14 most common allergens, plus corn and sugar, so more people can enjoy it together. As the $1 million grand prize winner, Everybody Eat must commit to operating in Central New York, the Finger Lakes, or the Southern Tier region for at least 1 year, while providing Grow New York with a small equity investment in each entity. Funding for the competition is provided from the state's URI, State Revitalization Initiative. Finally, Hope and Kevin Law were able to join many of our ESD staff to celebrate the completion of the UBS Arena at Belmont. That was last month. I guess I would want to close with a couple of recognitions here. As many of you know, Howard Zemsky and Eric Gertler are doing their last meeting as ESD directors. With nearly 15 years of state service between them. Howard Zemsky, I can't imagine you thought you would have a decade of state service under your belt at any point in your career, but here you are.
Yep.
So I just want to take a moment to recognize the work that they have done selflessly on behalf of New Yorkers. Really, personally, just such a pleasure to work with both of these gentlemen. Committed, smart, always trying to do the best thing, and great friends. And I have to say, I had fun. I laughed every day with both of these guys, and I think so many of my colleagues can say the same thing. And it's really been a pleasure to work with you both. So thanks.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kevin.
Additionally, Rich Newman, who I don't know if he's on today, but Rich has been served as chief of staff and executive vice president for marketing for ESD. I want to think it's been more than 8 years for Rich. Rich is, again, a great friend, a selfless public servant. He's, coming from the private sector and spent a lot of years with us, had fun. We kept each other sane, I think, over the past several years. Really good friend and a great guy. So thanks to Rich, and you will certainly be missed. Eunice Jackson in our legal department is retiring at the end of the month. Miss Jackson has nearly 10 years at ESD and has been, a really steady hand in that division. And congrats and good luck to Eunice. Again, just want to thank everybody for their service as we approach the holidays. A broader thank you to all of our colleagues, all of you here as directors, and all of our colleagues throughout the state. It's important work we do, and it's fun work that we do, and there's great people that we work with. And then, so I want to wish everybody happy holidays, and we'll see each other next year.
Thank you. Kevin, let me just, just say that it's been such an honor and privilege to work with the fellow board members, to work with the executive team at ESD. I have always admired the important work that ESD does, and not just the work that it does, but how it does it. It's really, such a first-rate agency with so many exceptionally committed, dedicated, smart, hardworking individuals, and it is the people that make up the agency. So it's bittersweet, but it is my last board meeting, but I leave with a sense of real awe for New York State, and I want and hope the agency continues, which I know it will, under the leadership of both Hope and Kevin, and you, Kevin. Howard was a tough act to follow, but the entire team just continues to do great work. And I just want to given that it is a board meeting, just thank Debbie Royce for all the hard work that she does, and Goldie rather, for the work that you two do in putting this together. So it's an honor. Thank you, and keep up the great work, everyone.
Thanks, Eric. All right.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Moved. It's Howard.
And I'll second
Thanks,
it.
Eric. There you go. All right, folks, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you. The motion carries. Thank you all. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everyone.
holidays.